Two TV personalities in the college football world had some comments on where Clemson's at in the crossroad that their football team has hit. I firmly stand with one of them and agree that this is the year Clemson returns back to a dominant powerhouse in the sport.
You are Locked On Clemson, your daily podcast on the Clemson Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Locked On Clemson podcast. I'm your host, John Bivens. You can follow us over on X at I am John Bivens. Thanks for making Locked On Clemson your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast at and over on YouTube. We are a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it is your team every day. Here on Locked On Clemson, you're getting three things. You're getting all sports, all passion, all the time, or we are bringing you everything you need to know regarding Clemson sports. Today is Thursday, August 15th. We're going to talk about how it's time for us to return to dominance, talk about our review of the second scrimmage, and we're going to end with the injury report. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app now, create an account, use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Before we dive in, we just want to say thank you. We have set this goal for about 2 months now of reaching 1,000 subscribers. And thanks to all of our everydayers, we have hit that goal of 1,000 subscribers over on YouTube. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Now it's time to hit the next one right now. We're going to take a moment and celebrate. Thank you so much for that. We are truly appreciative of every single one of you who listen every day or watch every day over on YouTube and listen on all our other platforms. Thank you. We are appreciative of you. This podcast is not possible without each and every one of you. But now let's dive into the stuff you want to talk about. With Reese Davis and Paul Finebaum weighing in on Clemson's crossroad, I firmly agree with Reese Davis that this is the year Clemson begins its return to dominance. Look, it's no surprise. It's no secret. Clemson has struggled a little bit past couple years. Clemson has had some struggles. They've had some questionable times. They've had some plays. They've had some years where they haven't looked like the Clemson that we've seen in the past decade. Two TV personalities in the past couple of days have commented on that. Reese Davis, who is the host of College Football Game Day, and Paul Finebaum, who is an advocate, hater of all things not Alabama or SEC. They both weighed in with extremely different takes and honestly pretty negative. Paul Finebaum went on and he had some comments. He didn't have a lot, but he did have some comments regarding Clemson and where Clemson's at right now. Here's his comments. He was big surprise. He's a hater. He doesn't think that Clemson's going to be great, which is not a surprise. That's who he is. But mainly he went through and he talked about how Clemson's no longer the powerhouse that they once were. He talked about how there's been a decline in win percentage and national rankings since 2020. And let's just focus on that real quick. All right, let's just truly focus in on that. He's talking about the way he says it and the way that so many people are talking about is that there was just this team is falling apart. He's acting like we're not making bowl games, like we're having losing seasons. That's how everybody's acting. Clemson in the 2010s were by far one of the most dominant teams of the decade. We had the second most wins with 117. We had an 83.6% win percentage, which was third only behind Alabama and Ohio State. Clemson was a dominant team. There's no hiding that. Since 2020, though, Clemson has dropped that. Their win percentage dropped an entire, a massive 6.5 points. That's how far it dropped. It went from 83.6 to 76.9. So it's dropped literally 6.5 points, almost 7 points it dropped. That's it. We went from in the 2010s, we had 117 and 23 to now we're sitting at 40 and 12. Let that sit in. We are 40 and 12 in the 3 years or 4 years that apparently is the worst 4 years that we've had. Am I saying that we've had a great 4 years? No. Am I saying that it's been there hasn't been any questions, that it hasn't been a disappointment? No. But what I am saying is stop acting like Clemson is the worst team in the nation. Stop acting like Clemson isn't making bowl games, like Clemson isn't competing. We're 40 and 12. We still have one of the best home records. We still have a top defense every single year. Why are we freaking out as much as we are? Why are people acting like the wheels are off the bus? I don't get it. I don't understand the hate. I don't understand the comments that are happening right now. And Paul Finebaum went in on them. He talked about how they have he said they have a good program, but they're not what they used to be. He said, and I find it difficult to find that they're going to be able to get back to where they used to be, and they're not going to be able to get used to that. He just went in and was constantly talking about negative and how low he thinks their chances are. He talked about a low performance since 2014. And he kept saying that. He said, they're a good program, but they're not going to be as great again. Is a good program a 77% win percentage? Is a good program a team that has a top 5 defense, top 10 defense every single year? Is a good program a program that is led by a coach that is one of the only one of 2 multi-champion or multinational title champions in the nation, one of 3 head coaches that even have a national championship? Is a good program one that has won 7 of the past 9 or 10 ACC championship games? 7 of the past, I believe it's 7 last 10. Since 2016, we've won 7. Or 2015, we've won 7 of them. I could be wrong. Let's give it 2014. I could be a year off. Even if it's 2014, that's we've won 7 national ACC champions in that time. People are acting like this team is done for, and that's not the case. Yes, there was a couple of years where we had some slides, where we had some marks. We had some times where it, frankly, wasn't as good as we could have been. But it isn't as bad as by saying. Reese Davis basically went on interview and just said exactly what I said, everything I said. He went through and he said that Clemson, the hate that they're getting is completely exaggerated. Here's the quote for quote, what happened, what he said on the College Game Day podcast. He said, reports of their demise has been greatly exaggerated. And the rest of y'all are going to come in on the Roy bus and watch the Clemson Tigers come back to the playoffs as an ACC champion. Reese, I loved you before this. I love you even more now. Thank you for calling out the junk that's been spread all across this nation about Clemson. People are acting like we've won, that we've had this huge slide. Look, the reality, we turned the ball over more than we should last year. Our wide receivers were disappointing, and our quarterback play wasn't what it should be. Yes, I'll give you that, 100%. Since Trevor Lawrence left, we have not had consistent quarterback play that we needed. DJU was disappointing. Cade Klubnik, to this point, hasn't been who we thought we should be. I will 100% give you that. But this team is not one that is – we're still ranked 14th in the nation to begin this year. We're still top 14 in the nation. Oh, this team's garbage. This team's nothing. They're going to get demolished by everybody they play. They're going to lose to Louisville. They're going to lose NC State. They're going to come in 5th in the ACC. No, y'all are junk. Quit talking that trash. I'm so tired of it. This is the year that Clemson is going to put all that to silence. Reese goes through and he talks about all the improvements that they've made. He's talked about the quarterback plays getting better, how Garrett Riley has got this offensive line and offensive side as a whole improving and drastically growing. He talked about how Clemson defense year in, year out is one of the best defenses in the nation and is one that can challenge, he literally said can challenge top teams like Georgia. Reese did say that we're going to lose a close game to Georgia. That's his prediction, but he predicted maybe a 2-score at the most, 2-score game. Reese sees it. Reese sees the fact that Clemson is still one of the best teams in the nation. Reese predicts us going 10-2, losing to Georgia in a close game, losing to Florida State in a close game, and then he predicts us getting back to the ACC championship at a neutral site and beating FSU there. He said the only reason he thinks we're going to lose to FSU is because it's in Tallahassee. That's it. I get that argument. I get that. I think we win that game, but I 100% understand that. That's a tough environment against a really, really talented football team, a team that went undefeated last year outside of losing to Georgia. Very, very talented team. I understand that take. Reese Davis sees this team is not one that has lost everything it has. Reese Davis sees exactly what we see and what we say. This year, the doubters are going to be put to silence, and Clemson is going to return and resurge as one of the dominant powerhouse football teams in college football. It's going to happen. And one of the reasons we say that is the amount of growth and the level of play Clemson showed during their second scrimmage on Thursday. MLB is in full swing. Very little is better than going to a game day at Clemson University, but MLB games are right up there with them. I love going to different ballparks and feeling the vibe, feeling the energy of the stadium. And when I want to go to MLB game, Gametime is the ticket place that I go to. The Gametime is an authorized ticket seller for all MLB games, and they're the easiest place to go to for all your ticket needs. Whether it's in advance or the day of, prices on the Gametime app actually go down the closer it is the first pitch. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guaranteed, Gametime takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. Whoever your team is, Braves are playing well, Padres are making a run, whoever your team is, if you're wanting to catch a game in the most exciting part of the season, which is right now fighting for the playoffs, Gametime has you covered. Some of the best parts of Gametime are 60% off when you're buying last-minute tickets. You get a panoramic view of every single seat almost before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect. Take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app today. Use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Welcome back to the Locked On Clemson podcast. Thanks so much for making us your first listen of the day. For your second listen, go enjoy Locked On College Football podcast. Spencer McCaughlin gets you ready with an exciting season on the gridiron with discussions on the upcoming season and the ever-changing landscape of college athletics. He talks about conference realignment, transfer portal, NIL, new college football expanded playoffs, and so much more. Locked On College Football is available on YouTube wherever you get your podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. The second scrimmage that Clemson had shows us that this offense is gaining confidence. They're improving in key areas like decision-making and ball security, and it's setting them up for a strong start to the start of this season. Look, I firmly agree with Reese Davis. This year is going to be special, and the scrimmage that just happened shows that this team is ready for success. It shows that this team is ready to be a strong house this year. We got to see some great things from this team at this scrimmage that happened the other day, and mainly what we got to see was our offense played really, really well. There's 4 areas that I want to talk about in regards to this scrimmage. The first area is this. We saw some great improvements in the offensive confidence and playmaking. So for this scrimmage, the first team offense was lined up with a second team defense. First team defense lined up with second team offense. In Clemson's offense, there was a noticeable difference in the confidence during that final scrimmage of fall camp. They were making plays at all levels, from receivers, tight ends, running backs, quarterbacks. Confidence is a key factor when it comes to the offense. If you don't believe in yourself, if players on the offense don't believe in who they are, don't believe in the plays, don't believe in what's going on, there's not going to be success. And honestly, last year, we didn't see a lot of great confidence. So far in fall and spring, we've seen some, but not a lot. According to everything we're hearing, confidence was thriving in this second scrimmage. The offense showed that they're clicking. It showed that they're capable of ball movement, of moving the ball down the field, which is crucial for success. They showed that the confidence is back and returning, and playmaking was apparent during the scrimmage. The second part that I think is huge, and this is one that Dabo talked about a lot, is that there was improvement on decision-making and ball security. Last year, everyone knows, Clemson struggled with turnovers. We struggled with fumbles. Cade Klubnik had a total of 19 almost turnovers. He had 9 interceptions, 10 fumbles, and he lost 5 of those fumbles. So he had 14 turnovers himself, not counting the 5 fumbles that we returned. That's a potential 19 turnovers, but 14 for sure just from him. That's improved. He's showing the ability to not do that. He's protecting the ball. He's making the right decisions. He's getting down when he should. He's avoiding the strips. He's playing so much better. Dabo Swinney, when he talked about this, he praised not only Cade Klubnik, but he also praised our entire quarterback room. He said Klubnik, CV, Trent Pierman. He said their growth, their maturation, their playmaking, all of that has improved to a level where they feel very comfortable with our quarterback room heading into this tough season. Our quarterbacks are improving. If your quarterback improves, that improves the entire game. If your quarterback's good, he has the ability to make anyone else look good. And that's apparent with all the great quarterbacks. So that's great. We're improving in our confidence. We're improving in our decision-making, ball security. Honestly, we're talking a lot about offense. Our defense looked good too. In the first scrimmage, everyone said that our offense outplayed them. Our offensive line looked good. But this scrimmage, while our offense looked really good, the defense bounced back. They had a much stronger performance this game. They created multiple turnovers. They had an interception. They also had a fumble recovery. They also forced the second fumble, but the offense returned it. Again, that was our second team offense. But still, Dabo went on and talked about how he was so pleased in their ability, how they corrected mistakes. They applied pressure. Honestly, one thing that we're going to have to make sure we watch out for this year is our young players. We've got some young players that we're really forcing to play early on, maybe earlier than we'd like in certain situations. But our young players are looking really well. They had a great scrimmage. They showed that they're not just the freshmen not sure what to do, but they can truly come out and make a key difference in this year. Our defense had a great response to our offense having a really good day. And when your head coach leaves the scrimmage saying that the offense looked great and the defense looked great, that's it. That's powerful. And don't think for a second that Dab was just saying that. This is the same guy that after our last scrimmage came out and was like, look, we did some things good. We did some things bad. We'll work on it. I mean, that's the gist of what he said after the first scrimmage. Now he's coming in saying our quarterbacks look great. Our offense is moving. Our defense is responding really well. That's encouraging. These are all the signs of what points to a really successful season. And the fourth part that I want to talk about is it shows their preparation is at a whole new level. Look, there's no question. Week 1 is a challenge. And I want to talk about something. I did an episode a couple episodes ago, and we did one where we talked about the keys to an upset. And I literally did an entire episode all about how if Clemson beats Georgia, it's an upset. Did I say they were going to win? No. I said it was a possibility. Did I say that it was mark it down as Clemson winning? No. I said don't mark it down as a loss, but it would be an upset. Everybody's coming at me in the comments saying, "Oh, you're insane. You're cynical. You're fan biased." Blah blah blah. Listen, open your ears, right? All I'm saying is that there are keys to an upset, and that's true for everything. You could say the keys for Georgia to beat Clemson. It's the same thing. All I'm saying is this: Clemson is preparing in the way that they need to prepare. And this scrimmage showed that. The Tigers are continuing preparing for the number 1 team, which is Georgia, which I'll say it again is the most talented team in the nation right now. But their practices, their scrimmaging, they're showing that they are fine-tuning this offense and this defense to give Georgia every single thing that they have. The upcoming Chick-fil-A Kickoff Classic is going to be a critical test for Clemson. It's going to be tough. But the improvements that we saw in this final scrimmage are a positive sign as we head into that game. I really think that this scrimmage, it showed that there is this balanced development in both the offense and the defense that's really setting us up for a strong, strong season. When I look at this scrimmage, when I look at what all the coaches are saying, what all the players are saying, when I look at everything I'm hearing from how it went from the people down in Clemson that got to go to it, what I'm hearing is that this scrimmage, it truly shows that this offense is a new beast. They're returning back to their confident self, and we're going to see Garrett Riley truly open up this field with a dirt raid that's going to return Clemson back to the powerhouse offense that they can be, and our defense is still going to be one of the top 10 defenses in the nation. If those two happen, which they're going to, Clemson is set for an outstanding season, including a great matchup against Georgia week 1. But we can't be all positive. We do want to talk about how there are some key injuries that happened recently as some key roles and key positions that could really be a stumbling block for the Clemson Tigers. Injuries are hitting key positions hard, potentially jeopardizing Clemson's depth and strength on both sides of the ball as the season approaches. There's been some big injuries. And there's been some injuries that are really, really discouraging. Some long-term, some short-term. And so we just want to bring that up. Dabo kind of gave us the injury report. And I'm not going to lie. Some of these are a little worrisome. One area that Clemson has got to improve on this year is our offensive line. That's got to be better. 28 sacks last year, 28 sacks the year before. So 56 combined sacks past 2 years. Can't happen. And we cannot have another year of 28 sacks. So our offensive line has to get better. And Matt Luke has made strides. He's increased this line. Him and Garrett Riley have worked together really well to improve this line. And I think they're doing great at that. But this injury report that we got recently after this scrimmage on Thursday, We got some bad news. We have 2 offensive linemen that are missing the entire season of 2024. The first one is Watson Young. Watson Young is a true freshman, 6'3", 285 pounds. He was one of the 5 finalists for Mr. Football in South Carolina last year. He went to Daniel High School right in Clemson. He led them to a 51-1 record in 4 years starting as the left tackle. They had 3 state titles in 4 years. This guy's a winner. This guy's a player. He's a 4th generation Clemson football, the first one that's on the record. I don't think there's another 4th generation Clemson football player that we know of. His father was an All-American, a 3-time All-Academic All-American, Kyle Young. He played for the Tigers in the late 90s, early 2000s. He was a 2-time All-American center. He was great, but this guy, he's going to be great. Watson Young is going to be truly great. Unfortunately, he did come out and got injured. He tore his ACL, and so he is out for the entire season. He was set to be – he wasn't going to be a starter, but I do think he was going to get some time on the field. He was projected to be our 3rd-string center behind that Ryan Lithicum and Harris Sewell. I think he was going to get some playing time. He was going to get some time at tackle. He was going to get some time rotating through that offense. If you know Clemson, you know they like to swing up players. They like to mix it up. They like to get fresh rotations on the line. So I don't think he to start, but I do think he just saw a little bit of playing time. He's not going to now. Big injury there. We had a second injury that was big on the offensive line, and that was Ian Reed. Ian Reed is another offensive tackle. He had messed up his knee and is out for the entire season as well. Ian is a sophomore. He's a redshirt freshman. He appeared last year in one game. He made 1 game appearance, played 11 snaps against Charleston Southern. He's not this guy. I think he's going to be someone that's good when he's a junior, when he's a senior. Honestly, I think this year was going to be another year where we might have had 1 or 2 games where he made appearances, but you never know, because like we said, Matt Luke's a new coach. You don't know what he likes. You don't know if he liked him a little bit different. I think he was going to get some more playing time, not as much, but he was going to get some. He was listed as our backup right tackle. So he's 2nd-string player, but our 1st-string right tackle is our best offensive lineman in Blake Miller. So don't know how much playing time he's going to get there, barring any injuries. But the fact that he's our 2nd-string right tackle and now he's hurt, that leads a freshman, Mason Wade, to come in and take that 2nd-string spot for right tackle. A little worrisome there. So that injury, that's a key position. Offensive line is huge. And while we're returning 4 of our 5 starters, they like to switch it up. They like to switch in the rotation to give people breaks. And now we just lost 2 people that allows room for that. So now we're down even less than what we would have. So I think those are big roles. We also lost 1 other player for the season. We lost Miles Oliver, who's missing the entire season with his knee. This guy is a guy that I feel so bad for. He came in as one of a high recruit out of Georgia. He's a cornerback, 5'11", 180 pounds. He came in 2022, and in that season, he battled an injury, missed almost all of the season. He did make his debut in that Orange Bowl against Tennessee in 2022, and that loss. 2023 came in, and he missed pretty much the whole season again because of injury. So he was hurt his freshman year, hurt his sophomore year. He played in 9 snaps again. He played 9 snaps in his season debut against Georgia Tech last year. So he's played in 2 games over 2 years. Not a lot of snaps, either one. He's just battling injuries, and now he's going to miss an entire another season. He's a redshirt sophomore now. You can only redshirt because of injury once. He's missing a lot of time. I feel bad for him. But the reason why this is big, even though he hasn't played a lot, our secondary is something that's good. I think we have a really good secondary, but you can always use more help. You never want to lose players at that high profile of a position. He was supposed to be up there. He was supposed to I think he was going to get some playing time, not a lot. He was our 3rd string. He was one of our 3rd string cornerbacks behind Jaden Lucas and Tavoy Fagan. He was beat out for the 2nd spot by a freshman, but I still think he was going to get some playing time. He's not now. He's out the entire season with a knee injury. So those are the 3 players out right now that we know of out for the year. We do have a couple more players, and they're both secondary that are day-to-day. You got Shelton Lewis, who we heard got hurt a couple days ago. He seems to be day-to-day. What Dabo said on him is it's encouraging how it's a lower body injury, but he should be back soon. Shelton Lewis is a good player. He's our backup nickelback behind Khalil Barnes. He was 100% going to get a lot of playing time. He still could. Hopefully that he gets back from the injury and plenty of time to get back to his normal self before that Georgia game. And the other injury that we have is a little bit of a question mark. We got Jaden Lucas. He has some undisclosed injury. We really haven't been told what his injury is. But Sweeney said on Thursday that he should be back any day, how he's ready to roll. He's ready for it. So hopefully we see him back. I'm not worried about him losing time. He is one of our starting cornerbacks. So really important for him to be there. He's a junior. He's a great player. Really important for him to make it back. But Clemson's in for a great season. We got to avoid the injury bug. Hopefully we don't have any more big injuries at key roles like we have. I mean, we're talking about 2 offensive lines missing the entire season, another secondary player missing the entire season, and 2 more secondaries suffering with another injury, hopefully not serious. So there's some key injuries hurting us. Hopefully Clemson can get past this stumbling block and continue on to a great season. But with all that being said, that is going to wrap up this edition of the Locked On Clemson podcast. Thanks so much for joining us today. Hey, thanks so much for making Locked On Clemson your first listen. Now go listen to Spencer McCaughlin on the Locked On College Football podcast for your second listen. I don't agree with most of his Clemson takes, but he's got some great stuff over there. Go listen to it. Let me know what you think. He's got a great show. Make sure you do join the Locked On Clemson Insider program. We've got a great insider program that allows you to have one-on-one conversations with us and access to bonus episodes only found if you are a subscriber. To join that, text Clemson to 864-252-1907. We would love to hear thoughts on today's topics. Drop a comment. Hit us up on Twitter. Send us an email. Join the Locked On Insider program. Let us know your thoughts. We'd love to have a conversation with you about that. If you haven't, make sure you're subscribed to this podcast, wherever you get your podcast at. And if you're watching us over on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. That way, every day we can be your first listen here on the Locked On Clemson podcast. Make sure to go check out one of the other 200 shows from Locked On Podcast Network, where it is your team every day. We can't wait to see you on tomorrow's episode as we wrap up this week all about Clemson. But until then, keep that Tiger pride alive and roaring. And as always, go Tigers.